Hi, I'm Dustin Abbott. In 2021, I was considering my next vehicle when Ford announced the new Ford Maverick, a compact unibody truck that, most interesting, at least to me, could come with a hybrid powertrain. The idea of a versatile vehicle that could handle some passengers, could get 40 plus miles per gallon, but then also have a cleverly designed 4.5-foot bed added up to a very intriguing, kind of active lifestyle vehicle. Perhaps, like you, I don't do just one thing. I like to do a lot of things, including sports, photography, obviously, but then also I do construction, I do a wide variety of things. And byproduct is that I was looking for a vehicle that could do all of those things. I've been driving a car for quite a while. We also have a van that my wife drives, and we're getting to the age where the kids are pretty much grown, so we're about to ditch the van and she's going to go to an SUV, but I wanted something that would allow me to do some of the things that we could do with a van before, including pulling a trailer, obviously, but without going into that full-size, large truck kind of situation, which really didn't appeal to me. So the idea of getting some car-like driving, overall driving mechanics, along with the versatility of a small truck was appealing to me. So I decided to take the plunge. After doing a lot of research, I put down my deposit and waited nearly a year for the hot pepper red XLT Maverick that I spec'd out to arrive. I've now had my 2022 Maverick for nearly 15 months. So the question is, has it proven to be a good vehicle for a photographer who lives an active lifestyle? Well, I'm happy to say that the short answer is a definitive yes. But today, I thought I'd just give you a quick breakdown of why this vehicle has worked so well for me, but then also to give the major caveat when it comes to any kind of Ford Maverick. So some of the things that have really worked for me as a photographer is things like the under-seat storage that allows me to always keep things on hand without disrupting either the versatility of using my bed or also of having passengers in the vehicle. So I've underneath there, I always keep a tripod, and so if I decide to do some kind of shoot or if I need to jump in front of the camera, I always have a tripod on hand. I keep a jacket in there, kind of a packable, puffer jacket. I also keep rain gear there, bug spray, just some of the essentials that, end up being really, really useful out in the field. I've also enjoyed having power in the bed for either lighting or charging batteries. It's a 400-watt power outlet, and so having that there has been really, really convenient for doing in-bed type things. Now, it's not enough, just so you know, not enough to run something like power tools, but for someone like myself who uses almost exclusively battery-powered power tools, I've got a lot of Milwaukee tools, M18s that I use, it has allowed me to have a station where I can keep my batteries charged, and we've done some pretty major construction projects built basically right out of the bed of my truck, where I've been using that to charge those power tools. The versatile bed has been really, really useful as well. It's allowed me to carry camera equipment, lighting, then of course tools, lumber, insulation, luggage, runs to Costco, even packing mattresses and moving things like that, getting large-scale materials for doing yard work, all of those things. Obviously having a versatile bed, and the bed here is particularly useful because of the fact that it's what they call a flexi bed, and so it allows you to position the tailgate at different positions. And so even though it's a fairly short bed, I've been able to put a lot of serious lumber in there, including many sheets of 4x8, be it drywall or or plywood, things like that. But then also because I can set it at a position where nothing ever comes out of it because it's just angled at the right way, I've been able to pack in lots of lumber to where I've pretty much maxed right out to the bed capacity, the carrying capacity of the bed, which is near 1,500 pounds, and then carried that. I've stacked it high with, as you can see, with insulation. It's just really, really versatile. The other thing that has been useful to me is the fact that this is a vehicle that, even though my particular one, and the hybrid, you can only get it as a front-wheel drive, at least at the present. Despite that, however, it basically has been able to go anywhere that I want it to go. And so I've taken it off-roading some to get either to some difficult to access hiking trails or, also to go out on places where I was going to do photo shoots. I've gone through fairly deep snow. I was in a situation one time where vehicles all around me were getting stuck in this drift that was separating people from an on-ramp to get onto a major highway, and I was able to pull through it just fine myself. And so having that extra little bit of clearance, and then also obviously I put good winter tires on the vehicle, but it's been able to, even though I live in a very snowy place where I have snow 5+ months of the year, I never got stuck in it. It did what I needed it to do. I've put over 15,000 miles in that first year, and in a whole lot of different driving conditions, which tends to be the case here in Ontario, Canada. Through all of that, however, another thing that has been a standout to me is the amazing fuel economy. I have averaged overall, including a lot of winter driving, obviously in that first year, I've averaged 38.4 miles per gallon, which is pretty amazing for a vehicle like this and doing the things that I have done with it. That includes time spent towing, lots of time, hauling construction materials, then also hauling things like a big kayak and pulling a trailer, various things like that. And so that fuel economy is pretty amazing. I've seen as much as 60 miles per gallon when I'm doing primarily city driving, and those that have a, kind of a commute where they're doing all kind of stop and go in city, they get really, really great fuel economy. And then outside of, if you kind of take winter out of the equation, my average is actually more like 45 miles per gallon rather than 38.4 miles per gallon overall. So the fuel economy really does live up to the hype. It is very, very impressive. A few pleasant surprises. Like, I'd done a lot of research, so I knew pretty much exactly what I was getting. And in large part, the vehicle has lived up to what I expected. But a few things that have been a really pleasant surprise is that it was a much more car-like driving experience than what I expected. Now, of course, it is a unibody. It's not a large truck. It's built on the same kind of frame as something like the Ford Escape or the Bronco Sport. However, the driving mechanics really weren't all that different from the car that I switched from. And so I was really pleasantly surprised by that. And then also just the overall seating height and position was one that was just really pleasant for me and has been for others that have ridden in the vehicle or driven it. One thing that I didn't expect up front for a vehicle that promised to be very popular was how exclusive it was going to be. I thought I waited a long time to get mine. The truth of the matter is that the vehicle proved so popular, and the hybrid platform proved unexpectedly popular. And as a byproduct, it has been really, really hard to get one. I waited for nearly a year to get mine, but right now those that are ordering are waiting even longer to get them. And so it's ended up being, at least in my area, a more exclusive vehicle than what was kind of forecast to be. As a byproduct, pretty much everywhere I go, people want to talk about it, particularly when I'm pulling into like a lumber yard to pick up materials and I come in kind of like ghost-like, on electric power and without any kind of noise. And so immediately guys in yards everywhere, they want to talk about the vehicle, and you can see them kind of evaluating, would this work for me? I've also been impressed by how long the distance is between the service intervals. This is my first hybrid that I'm driving, and one of the kind of byproducts of driving a hybrid is that the service intervals are fewer and a little bit further in between. And so I've been able to go, around 10,000 miles before needing to have any kind of service work. So obviously at this point, I'm still not quite to my second oil change in the vehicle with over a year of driving. That's obviously a pleasant surprise there as well. I was also pleasantly surprised the first time that I started to pull a trailer. I've got a 4x8 basically sized utility trailer, and when I hooked it up to it, I was pleasantly surprised by a couple of things. First of all, I've never driven a vehicle before where it had a kind of a smart integration. So when I plugged in the electrical into it, it was able to, number one, it recognized everything and actually told me that I had one of my actual tail lamps on the trailer out, and of course it was correct. And so that kind of clever interfacing. But then also I was pleasantly surprised by the experience of being able to zoom in on the backup camera and have a line right there at the trailer hitch receiver that helped to guide me in to the trailer itself. And that certainly was a pleasant thing. I've also been pleasantly surprised by the interior toughness of this vehicle. It became more of a work vehicle than what I envisioned. We have just finished up and are still doing some things on a massive 8,300 square foot addition to the church that I pastor. And as a byproduct, I ended up using this in much dirtier conditions than what I would like to use a new vehicle for. And so there's been times that it's had all kinds of drywall dust inside and all kinds of dirt and other things. And worst of all, I actually even got some tar from working on a roof, some tar onto the seats. I've been able to clean everything. It's held up really well. And right now, you know, after doing a little bit of detailing, it's back to looking like new. And the other pleasant thing here in Ontario, Canada about these seats is that the seat heaters warm up really fast and they warm up really hot. And so that's something that everybody that has ridden in here has commented on that they really, really enjoy. So are there anything that I am disappointed about? Well, there's definitely one thing that I would say has stood out to me as being a significant disappointment, and that is that there still is more glitchiness to the Sync 3 audio interface that's in this vehicle than what I would like. And the biggest thing that annoys me is that a lot of times it will reset in between, you know, driving and then stopping. It will reset to basically it always defaults to the radio. And so, I mean, either I'm using a USB memory stick or I've been using Bluetooth to connect to the audio from my phone. And the fact that it will reset from that is a true annoyance. And it's something that I would really, really love to see fixed by, you know, an over-the-air type update, but very likely it's not going to happen in this particular vehicle. And so that's something just to be, you know, to watch out for. Now, in conclusion, there's a couple of things that I've upgraded that I have been enjoyable for me. I did upgrade the speakers, added a subwoofer in here. I replaced all the speakers, but I put separates into the front door and added in the woofer that is down in the door, but then added a separate tweeter up front, and it just helps the sound quality to be vastly improved. So that's something that I certainly would recommend. Then a really inexpensive thing to add to the tailgate is a hydraulic assist that I got from Ford for about $50, and it just makes the tailgate a soft close and is really, really nice. I did purchase winter tires and rims. It's kind of a big thing here in Canada to be able to do that, but I was actually really pleased with the winter rims that I was able to get and the overall look of them. They were really, really excellent, and the ride quality was still great even after making those switches. So in conclusion, I really love the vehicle. I love the versatility. I love the reality of having the fuel economy of a compact car with a vehicle that's actually the size of a Ford Explorer. It's a fairly large vehicle, even though it's small for truck standards. It's a good sized vehicle. It's about as roomy inside as what my car was, but then also to have that bed back there, which I have used for all kinds of things. Bottom line is that I would order another one in a heartbeat. In fact, considering how long it takes to get one, I'm considering ordering one right now for my next vehicle. So I don't know, how patient you are in getting your next vehicle, but if you're looking for something that's really, really versatile as a photographer and not just a photographer, but doing all kinds of things, I have used this for, dozens of different purposes, and it really is a truly useful and versatile vehicle that's still small enough to fit into parking spaces and not just be kind of a nightmare to drive around. So bottom line, it's been great for me. I suspect it might be pretty awesome for you as well, and I wanted to give a long-term update as a photographer and someone that does a lot of things of the Ford Maverick. It's a pretty fantastic vehicle. I'm Dustin Abbott, and if you look in the description down below, you can find the typical linkage to follow me on social media, to become a patron, to get channel merchandise. And of course, if you haven't already, please like and subscribe. Thanks for watching. Have a great day, and let the light in.